Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today is my fourth workout back after taking like 3 or 4 weeks off gym altogether. So to get you caught up, a few weeks ago I had my wisdom teeth out, which required me to have 10 days out of the gym, no lifting, which was challenging. And then I had another surgery on my eyes and that required another 10 days out of the gym. So I've had 3 workouts back this week so far and I am so sore. So I'm gonna have to be really mindful today not to go too hard because I'm so excited to be in this gym. So I have worked out here once prior. Some of you may have seen that workout. This is the Derek Lunsford's gym. It is the Champ's Elysium. It's here in St. Pete, Florida. I'm going to try and go through maybe some new equipment in today's session that you didn't see last time, but there are also some here that I just can't not pass up. Like they are so good for the glutes. So we'll revisit a few, but I want to try and pick a couple of different pieces today to keep it fun and exciting. I'll share some tips, tricks, share some tips with you. And if you guys have got any questions about your own training or you're curious about something, please do not hesitate to ask questions. Drop them in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. But let's get started. Alrighty guys, so I'm just doing, because this is my first exercise for today and I am very, very tight. I'm going to do like 3 or 4 warm-up sets, no kidding. So I usually do, for my first warm-up set, I'll do about 50% of the working weight that I'm going to be doing for that number of reps. So if I'm doing a set of 12, I'll pick 50% of what I know I would probably do for that weight. And then for my second warm-up set, I'd go 75% of the working weight. And then if I'm doing a third working set, I'd go up to like 90 or something pretty close. And it usually goes 5 reps, 3 reps, 2 reps. That's usually the process that I would apply. And I think in the next iteration of Be a Fit 2, that process for warm-ups and the suggestions will actually be a feature that we'll provide for you. So that's kind of exciting. Okay, so this next set, I'm going to take it from 3 plates to 4 plates. It was feeling pretty heavy. I think I did about 12 reps in the last set at like, I don't know, an RP of 8. So I want to push it to a 9, 9.5. But just remember that as long as you're staying like above 8 reps, if you accidentally misload and, you know, you have to keep going all the way through to like 15 or 20 or whatever, and it's not what your training program specifies, please just know that you're not doing yourself a disservice. It's not going to mean, oh, I'm not going to get as much muscle growth if you have to end up going up to 20 reps or something like that. As long as you went close or to failure, that's the most important thing. I just want to challenge myself because I haven't done a lot of strength-based work lately. So I may end up only doing like 8 reps. That's fine. It's still hypertrophy. But I also might like to introduce a little bit more strength-specific training in this next block, just because I have done so much hypertrophy work over the last 12 months. Like it's been very cumbersome. So I'm actually excited to throw in like some of the heavy strength training in my next training block. So that's what you guys can look forward to if you do want to do my program. So it'll still be the hyper glute focused, but some of the exercises, you notice the rep range drops down like below 8. So let's see what we can do on this. Guys, I do like a good energy drink when I train. It's really the only pre-workout that I have. This raspberry and cream is so good. So I grew up in Australia and we had something called a splice. All the Australians that are watching are going to be like, yeah, I know what she's talking about. I don't know about you Americans, but it tasted just like a raspberry splice. So it is so true to its name, raspberries and cream. It's like ice cream in the middle, raspberry on the outside. It is all up in this drink. It is so good. Alrighty guys, this next exercise isn't just any machine hip abduction. It is a unilateral and bilateral hip abduction machine. So you can actually lock one of the positions in place and the other one is free to move. So I did use this in my last workout when I was here. It is so good. And again, for me, like glute medius is the main exercise or muscle group, I'm sure, main muscle group that I'm trying to grow for next season. So there's a lot of repetition in my program. And at my home gym, I'm limited to just a regular hip abduction and a cable and my bands. But to have diversity with machines is so much better. You look like you're about to say something, Sam.
Hey, Holly, I read this paper that said that squats can grow your glutes as much as a hip thrust. Do you think squats could just grow your glutes as much as this machine with all the fancy stuff?
Really good question. So keep in mind, we've got to think about the muscle groups that are being used in a squat and a hip thrust. Your glute max is the primary muscle group that's getting used in a hip extension. This is a hip abduction. So you'll get a certain amount of glute growth doing any hip extension, but this is going to target a completely different muscle that's kind of responsible for that lateral portion. So this muscle will get some recruitment in a hip extension exercise, but certainly not as much. So you've got to think like, what's the primary muscle group that's going to failure during a set? Because that's what's going to be signaling muscle growth. But to kind of bring it back, maybe bigger picture, I think that both exercises have the potential to grow glutes, but it might be it might be variable based on the individual because everybody squats a little bit differently. I know for me, I am posterior dominant. I lean way forward. So I've got a really big stretch in my glutes because I've got long femurs. But I can imagine a scenario where someone with really short femurs who squats a lot more upright, that's a lot more quad dominant. So again, you've got to think about when I'm going to failure, what muscle is actually going to failure in that squat? So I know for me, when I squat, I'm getting a fantastic glute workout. I'm convinced that's probably why I achieved a good amount of glute muscle for many, many years, training without even knowing it. It was definitely getting used. So it's probably dependent on the individual and how you squat. So if you feel it in your glutes, girl, you're getting a good workout from squatting as well. This is called a Pinch-arach. Very versatile piece of equipment. I think I have utilized something like this the most back when I was powerlifting and I was injured. So I was basically ruled off all spinal loading exercises. So no squatting, no hack squatting, no pendulum, no nothing where the weight is loading from your back. So for this, there's a couple of different things that you can do here, but today we're going to do an RDL. But just so that you know, if you are somebody that currently has an injury, especially something that's related to the spine, perhaps you've tweaked something doing some deadlifts, you can hop on here, you've got a belt, you clip it in, your hands go here, take that back, your hands go here, and you're basically just allowing your body to come down. So you're loading your quads, you're loading your lower body and your glutes, but there's no pressure or stress on the spine. So yeah, this is something that I definitely took advantage of when I have had hip injuries and back injuries from squatting when I was powerlifting. But today, we're going to hop in and do an RDL. So I'm going to shuffle forward so that the load is kind of pulling directly underneath me. And then we're just going to hinge back, lengthening, really pushing the hips back, and then come through. This is a surprisingly heavy machine. Maybe it's because I haven't lifted in 3 weeks. I've only got 40 pounds on here, I think. Yeah, it feels really good. I'm excited for this one. Versa grips, guys. If you don't want to limit your reps because of your grip strength, these guys. I do have a discount code, I'm pretty sure, in the description of this video. So if you jump down into the YouTube comments, or the description specifically, you will find the link. I think I've tried every pair of grips there is known to man, and these still reign superior. Next exercise, I have done this before, but I couldn't pass up doing it again. So this is the leaning back leg extension. So it's a plate loaded machine. To me, Actually, I'm not a big fan of plate loaded anything. I much rather like have levers or just something that does all the maneuvering for you. But one of the downsides, hear me out, there's certainly nothing wrong with this particular piece of equipment, but often when you get to the end of the range of motion, there's no tension. It's like almost a flapping around free weight in the air. So you almost have to really control the movement right into the point where you get to your full range of motion and control it. Otherwise, if you really throw it up, like you might end up finding that the weight kind of goes back past like where there's any tension. So that's my only qualm with plate loaded equipment, particularly for the leg extension. But I do really like this. Today I'm going to be doing a single leg extension instead of a bilateral, just for something different. I think I've already done like leg extension twice this week at my home gym. So mixing it up, but it's also a really good opportunity to kind of develop and bring up weaknesses. So if you have one side that is not as strong, maybe you've had an injury, maybe you had some time off, maybe there's just, I guess, non-symmetry, do more on one side. Yeah, for me, I'm just doing this for exercise variety today. So jumping in, I hope I've loaded it correctly. All right, I'm gonna bring this leg here. Just gonna pop it down by the side. You can also, I just watched Sam do this. He just left his leg here, but if you're flexible, I would actually recommend just bringing it up. And then, you know, to me, this is a very grounded, comfortable position. You know, my hips aren't overly tight or anything like that. Not going to wear the seatbelt for this exercise for these reasons, otherwise it'd be pulling into my hip. Okay, next one. Lateral raise, medial shoulder, also a little bit of your front delt as well, just because of the pulling pathway here. I love this machine. It gives you so much flexibility, no matter your range of motion with your short T-Rex arms like mine, or if you've got really long arms. This is so versatile and it kind of moves with your like dimensions. So today I'm going to be doing a unilateral, so single arm lateral raise, and it's really cool because you can set this up and really get a good stretch across your medial because it comes across your body. Unlike, you know, if you're just doing a regular dumbbell, you kind of usually stop by your sides. So this adds a little bit extra stretch. So it's nice to mix it up and really challenge full range of motion. Next movement today, it's a new one, yay! This machine here, let me just double check and see what brand we're working with here. This is also NewTech. It's basically a dual bilateral, also unilateral row. So you can adjust the height to be a high pull down. You can have it set at the midpoint. You can set it at the bottom. You can do 2 arms, 1 arm, it doesn't matter. Today I'm doing a single arm row. I definitely am trying to focus on less back widening and more just, I don't know, a maintenance volume from my back. And I generally do maximum 3 sets on all my wide grip movements at the moment. I'm not trying to get any more V taper. So most of the movements that I'm doing are either close grip in a horizontal position or a vertical position where I'm pulling straight down. So again, that's my personal goals right now. I'm not trying to grow my back, but if you are, then I would actually encourage you to do a good variety of both close grip and wide grip to get your rhomboids, mid-back, and your lats for that nice V taper. And you probably want to be doing, if you're trying to grow, at the very least, if you're an advanced lifter, like 15 sets per week on each of those muscle groups. There'll be a little bit of indirect work or crossover. So if you're doing like wide grip pull downs, you're still going to get some rhomboid like activation, but what's going to take you to failure is probably your lats. And so I usually assign a bit of fractional volume to both of those when I'm kind of totaling up like how many sets per week I'm doing on each muscle group. So let's dive in. Alrighty guys, moving on to rear delts. I'm going to do just a standard rear delt fly. So one of the things that I think is just a nice courtesy when you're doing anything here, because you've got your chin right on the rest of the seat, or at least that's how I do it. I usually try and like throw a towel or something over here, otherwise you just leave a nice mess. So first tip, I usually get myself in this kind of forward leaning position here. So I've got a bit of a 45-degree angle. And when I pull out, I can really feel a nice squeeze in the rear delt, like when I'm in this position. You can also go upright as well. There's no downside to doing this other than I personally feel a little bit more of my traps when I come through in this extended position, and I don't really want to target my traps at all. Like I already have a nice chunky trap. So for me, leaning forwards eliminates a little bit of that and isolates it to my rear delt. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to do biceps today. Not a muscle group I normally ever train, and I truthfully say I have not done bicep curls like in a program probably for 2 years. If you think about this from a perspective of a bikini athlete, I don't need to have really big biceps, and I'm already doing 2 back exercises, across my 4-day training program. So I'm getting somewhere between 6 and 8 sets most weeks. So even though that's indirect bicep work, I'm still getting some. And I do feel them when I do those exercises. I'll often say to my training partner, like, oh my God, the reason I stopped because my biceps were hurting. So I'm still getting a little bit of volume on them, but probably not enough to help them grow. So right now I'm in my off season and I'm so bored with my program. So I wanted to try the bicep curl using the NewTech, and it is a really smooth machine. So today I'm just going to go to 15 reps on this lovely piece of equipment. Okay, coming in for today's last exercise. So I'm going to do the standing version of the hip abduction. So generally speaking, when it comes to like hitting a target muscle group, I generally don't do more than say 6 sets on that one muscle group. So today, obviously I started out with the unilateral, and now I'm doing by 2 legs at the same time. That's pretty much it. I mean, provided that I'm taking each of those sets close or very near to failure, that's about as much, signaling to grow that you're probably going to get. So then you kind of move on to another muscle group or hit it in a different way. There are so many different exercises that might target a muscle in a slightly different way. Just as an example, you might be able to do some kind of quad-focused exercise, but some might be more rec fem, some might be more vastus lateralis, some might be more vastus medialis. So it's okay to do a variety of like quad-focused exercises if you know that they are specifically targeting a different portion of that muscle. Obviously, you can say quad. That's a very generic way to kind of look at it. At least for me, that's how I think about it. It's a very like multi-muscle group. So yeah, 6 sets today for glute medius, and then that's going to be me done. So let's do it. Alrighty guys, that concludes today's workout. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you took something positive away from that you can apply to your own workouts. If you've got questions, please leave me a question in the comment section below. I do read all of those and I'm happy to reply to any questions about training or nutrition or anything at all. But I do want to mention, so if you are looking to get a hold of all of my workouts, I currently have them all available on my website. So for many of you that have followed me for a long time, you know the shenanigans that went down with the previous criminal, corrupted developer. So we are 6 weeks away from today launching the new version of the app. So I'm so excited. We're going to be kicking off on November 10th with our new Slay the Holiday program. So it'll be a 6-week group fitness challenge to kind of bring us through to the end of the year. But all of the programs are currently available on my website. And of course, as we launch the new version of Be a Fit, all of my programs will be back in. We've got new features, new techniques, new programs, a bunch of fun stuff. So go and check that out. All of the programs are $12.99. I mean, you cannot get a better training program at that price. So check it out. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next video.